Yeah.
Because if we found out the Ark of the Covenant was, in fact, a real object and we know where it is and it does match the description in the Bible, that kind of changes everything. Now, all of a sudden, the Bible is not just stories and myths. The Bible is some sort of a historical record.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget that one of the world's best-known flood myths also comes from the Bible, which is the flood of Noah, which, again, is part of this worldwide tradition of which I am absolutely convinced Atlantis should be understood as a part of that worldwide tradition of a global flood and the loss of a former civilization. And again, it's one of the reasons why I've done the work I've done over these years.
That one to me is so crazy that someone is keeping that information from the rest of the humans. Because if we found out the Ark of the Covenant was, in fact, a real object and we know where it is and it does match the description in the Bible, that kind of changes everything.
I think it was an actual object.
And you think it was some nuclear something or another?
I think it's what is rightly described as an out-of-place artifact, because if you look at the description in the book of Exodus, the very precise dimensions of it, it's got a layer of gold, it's got a layer of wood, it's got another layer of gold. It's very precisely specified, like a blueprint in the book of Exodus. And then it does all this stuff. It shoots out jets of fire and kills 50,000 Philistines in the city of Ashdod when they open the Ark of the Covenant and look inside, and suddenly everybody in that city is dying, and what they're dying of is cancerous tumors. This is described in the Old Testament.
It's just insane that we know where it is.
The fascinating thing is that Ethiopia is the only country in the world that actually claims to have the Ark of the Covenant.
That one to me is just like, we know where it is.
Yeah.
Covenant commitments by God towards man is one of the unique dynamics of Judaism and Christianity. You don't have covenants in Buddhism. You don't have covenants in Hinduism, because lineage and connection to the material world means nothing in those forms of religion. But in Christianity and in Judaism, the idea that God has entered into covenant relationship becomes foundational, because covenant means that God makes promises to respond to us in a way that we would describe as being evidence of his goodness in our day-to-day life.
Menelik succeeded in stealing the Ark of the Covenant from Solomon's temple. And he brought it back by another ruse. All of these stories are full of characteristically legendary tricks. But he put a replacement in Jerusalem and conveyed the actual Ark of the Covenant by air. It was taken through the air at great speed to Axum. And the fact is that it is absolutely fundamental part of Ethiopian Christianity today. They still believe that the Ark of the Covenant is in Axum, and Axum is there. You can go there. They have hotels. You can stay there. You can see the building where the Ark of the Covenant is supposed to be, but you can't see the Ark of the Covenant. They won't let you in. It's between an old and a new building of Mary of Zion. This seems to be on the site of the original cathedral at Axum, which is where the Ark of the Covenant is supposed to have gone at the beginning. At any rate, you have a curious phenomenon that the Ark of the Covenant is still, for the faithful, resident in, and the Ark of the Covenant, as I should say, is these are the tablets of the law written by God. And they are allegedly in Axum today.
The Ark of the Covenant, built by Moses to hold the stone tablets of the Ten Commandments at the command of God himself. In Jerusalem, it was the literal dwelling of the Most High, secreted in the darkness of the Holy of Holies for centuries. Then it disappeared. No one knows exactly where or when, but for more than 2,000 years, the whereabouts of the Ark have been shrouded in mystery, despite countless attempts to track it down. There are many theories as to the whereabouts of the holy relic. Some say it's buried under the Temple Mount. Others contend it was carried to Egypt before being lost to history. Wherever it may be, the lost Ark of the Covenant has become one of the most sought-after Christian relics in history. On a recent trip to Africa, I met up with explorer Bob Cornhook founder of the Bible Archaeology Search and Exploration Institute. He's been investigating a little-known theory about the Ark for over 10 years and agreed to let me tag along on another fact-finding adventure. A former crime scene investigator in Los Angeles, Bob has made a name for himself by searching for biblical relics based on the same techniques he used in law enforcement. Taking the Bible as a literal guide, he's traced the route of the Jewish exodus from Egypt, searched for Noah's Ark, and probed the mystery surrounding the true location of Mount Sinai. His Ark theory goes like this. Just before the Babylonians invaded Jerusalem in 586 BC, Levitical priests moved the Ark to Egypt to save it from being destroyed. After more than a century there, it was moved again all the way up the Nile River to Lake Tana in Ethiopia.
And this is where they say that they had the Ark, and it rested right into where those trees are. We're going to go by it here right now, and as we go by with the boat, you're going to see where they actually say the Ark sat in a tent, very similar to the tabernacle in the wilderness.
The monks living on Tanakirkos Island haven't changed their worship or way of life for thousands of years. Even today, they dress in animal skins and live a primitive existence farming the small island. They also spend more than 3 hours a day in prayer. The monks showed us relics that they say arrived with the Ark.
So these implements were said to be brought with the Ark from Solomon's temple. And this is the gomer that sits down. They put the blood in it, and then they would sprinkle the blood upon the Ark.
According to these men, their ancestors safeguarded the Ark here for 800 years. In that time, Ethiopia became a Christian nation, and after that, the king came and retrieved the Ark and took it to Aksum, where we're going next. The city of Aksum, in northern Ethiopia, was once the capital of the kingdom. Ancient kings built giant obelisks to mark their graves, which rival the pyramids in engineering genius. Legend has it that the Ark was brought here in about 400 AD and was placed in the church of Our Lady Mary of Zion. The only man allowed to see the Ark is a monk called the Guardian, who's never allowed to leave the church enclosure.
It's like a bunker. It's made out of cinder blocks, and they tell me that as you go in that door, that there's a corridor that goes to the left, then the corridor makes a sharp right turn, and then another sharp right turn, coming back to where what they claim is the Ark of the Covenant, sitting in a big stone sarcophagus box with a silver ornate inlaid sleeve. So people say, why doesn't someone go in and get it? It'd be pretty hard to bring it out because they actually built the building around this object that they call the Ark of the Covenant.
We arrived in Aksum on the holiest day of the Ethiopian Orthodox calendar, the festival of Timkat. It's a day when tens of thousands of the faithful make a pilgrimage to Aksum, and a replica of the Ark is brought out of this church and paraded through the streets of the city. The people sing and dance before the procession, and the party lasts all night long. Timkat is like Easter and Christmas all wrapped into one. This is their festival, is the Epiphany, their most important holiday of the year. And these women will be out here all night long, worshiping, singing songs, praying. There's no doubt that this is a special place and a special time. The next morning, these revelers continue celebrating with songs and dances that haven't changed in millennia. It's a fascinating look into Old Testament-style worship that can't be found anywhere else in the world. At the end of the day, there's no way to know for certain if the Ark is here or not. But one thing is for sure, there's no doubt whatsoever in the minds of these Ethiopian Christians.
Do I personally believe it? I don't know. I believe they either have the actual Ark of the Covenant mentioned in the Bible, or they have a replica that is so convincing that they've believed it to be the Ark of the Covenant for more than 2,000 years.